So this is a video topic that I've been talking about doing for quite a while now, and originally it was just, well, Yhwach and Dio over Heaven are these OP mega bosses of their respective verses. They're both very overpowered, and I thought, well, a lot of people know that Dio over Heaven is really strong, really broken, but they don't really know why, so this would be a really good video for me to explain that for some people as well. But after I actually went through Eyes of Heaven, they're very similar in their goals as villains. They both want to create this ideal world, like Yhwach wants to make a world with no suffering, and Dio just wants to create a reality where he rules everything. So this versus battle actually works a bit better in terms of theme than I thought it was, but you guys already know how we do things on this channel. We're going to go over their strength, speed, and abilities, and then I will tell you guys who I think would win. However, if you have any issues with anything I say in this video, just know that my Discord is linked in the description. I am more than willing to give people a smackdown on this if they disagree with stuff that I say in this video, so feel free to come in there and get destroyed, or feel free to come in there and just have a nice friendly chat and, hang out with other, I don't want to say like-minded people, but, we all like anime, we're all nerds in there, Or you can come in there, get smacked down, and then just choose to hang out later. These are all just good options to have, right? But with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into this video. So I've scaled Yhwach a few times on this channel. He's been in just a few of these versus battles that I've done on the channel, but for those of you that are here to support Dio, like some of the JoJo fans, or if you're just new to the channel, I'll go over the scaling one more time. So we know that Yhwach scales to being able to destroy not only the 3 main realms in Bleach, but also all of the connecting realms as well. Now, 2 of these connecting realms, the Soul Society and the World of the Living, contain dozens of stars and would need to be multi-solar system in size to actually contain that amount of stars. Now, we used to scale this to about low multi-galaxy because of Gremmy, and while I thought it was pretty obvious that Gremmy was creating a pocket realm and that's what he was doing with his imagination, some people tried to argue that Gremmy was throwing Kenpachi out into the vacuum of space, and thus the realms would actually be low multi-galaxy themselves. However, the Can't Fear Your Own World novel actually confirmed that Gremmy does create this own little pocket space. So instead of the realms being low multi-galaxy, it's more if you can scale yourself above Gremmy's imagination, you would be low multi-galaxy, which Yhwach would be, but that's kind of a low ball for his power. The third main realm, Yhwach, actually has numerous statements stating that it's endless and would thus mean that it is infinite in size. There's also Mukin, which is one of the connecting realms I was talking about. It is stated to be infinite in size as well. However, that's a little bit debatable because if you look at the kanji used, it seems like it's not actually infinite in size. So that one is a little bit contestable, but thanks to the Can't Fear Your Own World novels, the Valley of Screams are now like super canon because they've appeared in the manga and we actually go to them in Can't Fear Your Own World. And in the Memories of Nobody movie, we learn that these realms are large enough to contain an infinite amount of souls and would thus need to be infinite in size to contain this amount of souls. And considering we see just a bunch of these little Valley of Screams when Kisuke is describing them, Yhwach could either be a low multiversal being to kind of just a weaker multiversal character. Dio over Heaven, though, is a bit weird to scale his power because the reason he's so strong is because he gets this over Heaven ability to rewrite reality, but that's a hacks that he and his stand have. It's not actually their physical power, meaning that in all reality, this Dio shouldn't be any stronger than the normal Dio we've already encountered, the one that's like anywhere from large building level to mountain level, depending on how you want to do the calcs and how much weaker you think Dio got from part 1 to part 3, if you really think he got all that weaker at all of that good stuff. But suffice to say, considering what we just went over for Yhwach, it's really not worth to debate, well, is Dio actually like multi-city block, because his strength is clearly not going to win him this battle, and I hope a lot of you guys can see that. But if you want to debate how strong this Dio should be, by all means go ahead and do that in the comments. But Dio's main strength comes from his abilities, and his abilities abilities do not scale to his physical strength. So I've covered Bleach's speed a few times on the channel, and what it mainly boils down to is the Mime Hage and the Ashwallen are able to travel the distance between the Soul Palace and the Soul Society in a matter of a few moments, and that's what makes it so impressive, because we know it took Ichigo half a day to make that same journey, and considering Ichigo back in the Soul Society should already be at bare minimum relativistic, considering that Shuhei, who is a lieutenant and is drained of most of his spiritual pressure because he fought Yumi Chika, and Yumi Chika actually used his true Shikai release against him, he was able to dodge the Negacion Light, and that was calced at being 5 to 10% the speed of light. And even if you say that Ichigo, who was bare-handing lieutenants, like wasn't even using his Zanpakuto, he was just literally beating the mess out of them. If you want to say that even he's just even with that Shuhei, then with his Bankai he would be anywhere from half the speed of light to the speed of light itself. And considering his true Shikai is stronger than his Dangai form, which is stronger than all of the masked versions of Ichigo, which are that Ichigo from the Soul Society arc, with numerous amps after his fights with Grimmjow and Ulquiorra, his mask, which basically doubles the Bankai buff that he gets, if not being far stronger than his Bankai itself. To say that that Ichigo that made that journey was moving at the speed of light is a massive lowball. But it's what we use regardless, because otherwise everybody's calcs would vary. They'd be like, well, actually, I think that Ichigo got 5 times stronger in between his fight with, you know, just all these random characters, right? You would get very subjective, but we can all agree that he's at least the speed of light, and that makes things very simple. And I'm not just gonna vomit some really big number at you guys. What I usually use is the idea that they're basically traveling dozens of solar systems in just a few seconds, because I feel like that's easier to wrap your head around than me just being like, oh yes, it's like this trillion times the speed of light. While it might seem impressive to do that, I feel like just saying, dude, they're moving like actual solar systems away in just mere seconds is a bit more impactful. Now, Dio's speed can get a little bit nutty, because sure, there's like the MFTL calcs for Star Platinum and Silver Chariot and everything, and that's well and good and all, but there is also the fact that Dio is capable of reacting to Gold Experience Requiem, which is capable of moving in Diavolo's space of erased time, meaning they should have inaccessible speed for moving in a realm with no time. And sure, you could say that like Giorno never moves in that dimension, but Gold Experience Requiem does, and Dio over Heaven literally reacts to Gold Experience Requiem when Gold Experience Requiem tries to punch him. So if you want to lowball this Dio, sure, you could be like, yeah, he's like MFTL or whatever, that's fine, but if you want to use some of his better showings, he's got inaccessible speed. As for Yhwach's abilities, this is always a headache when covering this character, because Kubo thought it was a good idea to give this guy just literally every single power in the verse. So for one, he has standard Quincy abilities, which includes being able to destroy a target's soul, being able to float around on some little jetpack shoes or whatever, but nobody really cares about that. But you might care about some of Yhwach's higher tier spells like Sanct Altar, where he's able to just steal somebody's ability, but he can kind of already do that if you touch him, because he bestows part of his soul onto you and then he eventually gets that power back. So I guess Sanct Altar is just a bit more of an immediate way to do that, but nobody cares about all that Quincy stuff, because you care about the Sternritter abilities. That's what makes Yhwach so broken. And I'm not going to go over every single one of these abilities, but I'll just go over some key ones that are going to help him in this fight. So there's obviously the Almighty, which allows Yhwach to not only see the future, but manipulate and change it as well. And he's able to see a nigh infinite amount of futures, because he likens the amount of futures he's able to see to that of the grains of sand that are on a beach. And he can even manipulate futures in which he's already died to come back to life. There are abilities like the Royd Lloyd ability that allows him to not only turn into his opponent, opponent, but also gain their abilities and memories. Something like the zombie means that if Yhwach gets his blood on his opponent, he's able to control them and they're just not able to resist anything. They have to do whatever he wants them to do. Same thing for the love. The love just has you fall in love with Yhwach and you're forced to do whatever he wants. The visionary allows him to just make anything he imagines reality. The balance allows him to shift damage around, and if he has the antithesis, he should be able to do that as well. So then he has like 2 abilities that allow him to shift damage around. But he's kind of broken. I hope we're kind of getting that along, right? He also has existence erasure now that he's become the Soul King, as when he's like choke holding the fake Ichigo in the air, he's like, I'm gonna wipe your existence out along with the Soul Societies, right? So he has existence erasure. He also had Yamamoto's Bankai for a little bit, which is some pretty cool flame powers, but that kind of got invalidated by Basby when Basby's like, yeah, I was able to negate Yamamoto's flames with my own, even though Basby got really messed up when he did that. But that's just a Cliff Notes version of some of the stuff that Yhwach can do. We could obviously go into every single one of his abilities and probably write out like a small essay on what this guy could actually do. So Dio doesn't have anywhere near the number of abilities that Yhwach has, but the potency of the abilities that he does have more than make up for the smaller arsenal that he has. His stand retains the ability to stop time because obviously it's still the world just juiced up on over heaven. Although I've heard people say that it's able to stop time for an infinite amount of time, I have yet to find confirmation of this, but it is possible that I missed something in one of the interviews or something. But the world over heaven's main ability is the ability to overwrite reality, and this ability was so strong that it was able to overwrite Golden Experience Requiem's ability to deny reality and Tusk Axe 4's infinite spin. Now, Gold Experience Requiem's hacks is generally put it around universal because it's able to create a death realm that it puts Diavolo in, and people usually scale this to being about like a universal 4D hacks, but Tusk Act 4 is far more impressive because Funny Valentine is able to traverse like numerous parallel worlds with D4C, and Tusk Act 4 was able to completely neg that with the infinite spin, meaning it should be a multiversal hacks that Dio is now overpowering with the world over heaven. So it doesn't really matter that he overpowered Gold Experience Requiem. I know anime watchers are going to be like, what? It doesn't matter, but trust me, when you get to part 7, you're going to notice that there is a massive power creep in how strong these stands get. But aside from that, Dio has the spine of the Holy Corpse, and it's unclear if that gives him the following abilities, but Dio is able to not only teleport himself to different times and locations across the JoJo universe, even in like the alternate universes like part 7 and part 8, but is able to teleport other people to those locations, and he's able to like bend them to his side and like possess them with this dark aura, which by the way, this doesn't mean that Dio has immeasurable speed because he's traveling through time, yes, but he's using an item to do it. If Dio was doing it himself, then yeah, he would definitely have immeasurable speed. Although that doesn't change the fact that his teleportation would require his opponent to have immeasurable speed to catch him. So it doesn't really matter in this case. But those are all of Dio's main abilities. So now we're left with the question of who wins between these two, and it's pretty interesting if you're just looking at their abilities. Dio has the ability to overwrite everything in the present, while Yhwach has the ability to overwrite everything in the future. But one of the main problems here is that Dio just has such a massive speed advantage over Yhwach that he should be able to get like numerous hits in and overwrite Yhwach before Yhwach has the time to react. If this fight was more even in terms of speed, Yhwach would definitely take this hands down because their hacks are similar in their strength. Plus, Yhwach could just turn into Dio and then use Dio's own hacks to cancel out the world over heaven, and then use one of the other abilities that he has to finish him off, like say the death dealing or something along those lines. But unfortunately for our boy Yhwach, Dio is just far too fast. Inaccessible speed is a tier above infinite speed, which is infinitely faster than anything that is finite, and unfortunately Yhwach is still in that finite speed tier, meaning that it's kinda lame that Dio is going to get a W technically because he's faster. If they were equal in speed, if you wanted to do that debate, then Yhwach would definitely take it hands down, like no questions asked. Unless you were to argue argue that Dio stops time immediately, Yhwach wouldn't be able to see the future of stopped time. Again, kind of like the argument of Diavolo versus Dio, where Diavolo wouldn't be able to see the future because time is stopped. If you argue that and then Dio just, annihilates Yhwach and stop time, then Dio could still win in an equal speed debate. But just to clarify, how I see it breaking down is with them both just being normal, you're using all of their best feats and everything, Dio takes it pretty easily. If you equalize their stats or even just equalize their speed, Yhwach's gonna take it. If you make some arguments for Dio, you can get him to win, but more times out of 10, Yhwach's going to win. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. That really helps the channel out. If you want to further help the channel out, become a channel member. Click that join button. That's going to allow me to make content more frequently, as I am now in school and I cannot double upload videos anymore because these take a lot of effort to make. Mainly, it's just a lot of research, but if you disagreed with anything I said in this video, or you just want to come chill and hang out with me, my Discord is linked in the description. Just know, if you're coming there to get thrashed, I expect you to have watched this entire video up to at least this point, and at least have a decent mic so I can understand what you're saying. Alright, Walmart's got mics for like $5, alright? Like, go scoop up one of those. But finally, I have some other links in the description, like my second channel where I talk about Fate Grand Order and other little gacha games that I enjoy playing. But with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day. Peace late, guys.